and producer Allison Abate.
Oh, no, you did not.
Started. Hello. With the first question here on the left.
Hi, my question is for Mr. Burton. I'm very front on your left if you're trying to find it. Hi, I remember the original Frankenweenie you actually had to do on the slide. I recall maybe you got in a little trouble for doing it until they released it on video, which is where I saw it. Is this some sort of great revenge that now they're authorizing a feature film version to fully develop it?
Revenge, I don't know if it's a good word. I mean, it's a project that always meant something to me, and then with the opportunity to do it stop motion, black and white, sort of expand on it, and with other kids and other monsters, other characters. It just seemed like the right medium and the project. So it, even though it's revisiting something that I did a long time ago, it feels new and special.
Over here on the right.
Hi, Tim. I'm curious, as you started to expand the concept in the story, like, how many things were ideas that had been lingering in your head that you didn't get a chance to execute then, or occurred to you over time, and how many were just brand new as you sat down to think about this particular?
Well, I mean, there was always characters that I had to sort of have. Sometimes you do characters, you don't know what it fits into. So there was always some little characters that was kind of playing around with. Also just going back, because not only the thing with the boy and his dog, but going back to school and remember some of the kids that I remember at school and some of the weird teachers and things. So it was a way to kind of, and also like growing up with those kind of universal horror films, I was also a fan of like when they do like House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, where they kind of Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, where they kind of combine them together. So a lot of it had to do with those kind of things that I love.
Over here on the left.
Tim, can you describe the emotional reaction you had when you walk out on stage at Hall H and feel the love from such a large crowd? Is it something you find daunting or delightful?
Well, no, it's amazing, because I wish my family treated me that way. Walk in the door, nobody says anything, so it's nice. It's that sort of thing. No, I remember coming to this, like, back in the late 70s when it was at the Holiday Inn, in San Diego. So it is amazing what it's turned into.
Front here.
Hi, Tim. I love your work, and I wanted to know, there seems like there's an emotional connection to you to your films, as it seems like you bring back a dog of yours in almost every one of your children's films. Can you give me a little background about that? Is that true?
Well, I think, it's, when you're young, it's the first kind of pure relationship you have. You're lucky enough to have a pet that you love, and it's something that's like, connects right to your heart. And I think that's the thing, I was lucky enough to have a special pet that I had that kind of relationship with. So, the whole sort of Frankenstein element is kind of wish fulfillment in that kind of way. And, I always found those movies like Frankenstein quite emotional. So it seemed like a fairly natural connection to combine the two.
Way over on the far right.
Thank you all for coming today. Don, it's great to see you working on an animated feature again. With your experience in the Disney Renaissance, what is it like for you to be working on another animated feature? But this one, it's also a stop-motion animated feature, and it's also a black and white stop-motion animated feature.
Yeah, I think the first black and white animated feature ever. I'm going to not say that. It's great. It's an insane way to make a movie. I've never made a stop-motion movie before. That's why Allison's here, because she's become the master of movies like Corpse Bride and Fantastic Mr. Fox. But it's terrific. I mean, it's particularly terrific to work with Tim and be able to kind of support him in his storytelling, and he also becomes a magnet for talent. So for people like Rick Heinrich to join us, and John August, our writer, and kind of crew of animators that just migrates to these projects, it's really exciting as a producer to see that, because everyone wants to help tell the story and put something special on the screen. And to me, stop motion animation is extraordinary, because you see the hand of the artist, which is, as much as I love CG animation and other forms of animation, it's what I absolutely love about this art form, is you can actually see and feel the artist and touch and feel their work. So it's been a great experience.
Back here on the left aisle.
My question is for Tim Burton. Being, of course, Frankenweenie has a lot of the horror elements, of course, with Dark Shadows had some of the vampire horror elements. Would you jump back into that genre of straight-up horror, like in the vein of a Sleepy Hollow again after this?
Well, I think I've had enough of me for a while. After this one, I take a little bit of a rest. Like I said, for me, this one is such a special project, and so I'm just going to sort of take the time to enjoy that and try to nurture that and see it through to its release.
All the way in the back.
This question is for Mr. Burton, over in the back. First off, how do you feel about your animated work, having started with Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, and now going to your third movie? How do you feel that it has progressed? Second part of the question, over 20 years ago, Batman 1989, one of the first people who dug into that superhero world. How do you feel about the current state of superhero movies?
Well, I mean, it's, I recall back to when we were doing that and how worried they were all that it was too dark. And now it looks like a lighthearted romp, Batman on ice, So it's interesting because it was such a kind of a struggle to kind of get that at the time, but, and animation, I do love stop motion. These things always take time to get done. It's a rarefied medium, people, it's kind of a slightly lost art form, although there's more being done now than there was in the past. And, as Don said, there's something that's so beautiful about it, and just to be able to touch and feel the puppets and move them is just, it's something magical about it. You kind of wish everybody could kind of experience it, because it's hard to talk about it. It's like, if you felt these things, and just the intricacy of the movement and all, it's quite a beautiful art form.
Y'all share the middle.
Hi, this question is for Atticus. Hi. I was wondering what's it like to work with Mr. Burton and to work in this genre with the stop motion, get to play with the toys or not?
I think it's amazing. I absolutely love everything about it, because for me it's something completely different, because I do theatrical as well and have done other just animation, but having it be a stop motion animation and also Tim Burton animation is just wonderful for me. And I gotta admit, I did geek out when I said I work with Mr. Burton. And
Well, also it's great because he, somebody like Atticus, it's like the animators really, appreciate it, because it's like they like to put the person in it, and he's great.
In the hat here.
Yes, my favorite time at Disneyland is when Jack and all the Nightmare Before Christmas people take over the Haunted Mansion. And I was wondering if maybe Disneyland's going to have any of the characters there throughout the movie. It's October. And for everybody, what's your favorite ride at Disneyland?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Yeah.
That's it there.
I think it is, yeah.
I'm a space mountain man myself. I did the Haunted Mansion. That was such an honor, because it's like I grew up with that, loving the Haunted Mansion, and so that they turned it into Nightmare stuff was a real amazing thing for me. I mean, it's like one of those weird dream come true kind of things. So that was a very special moment for me.
Right in front here.
Hi, this question is for Mr. Burton. Considering the immense fan base present throughout whole Mexico, the Tijuana film community, through the event Tijuana Odora, which focuses on promoting a good image of the city, has managed to gather important film figures such as Robert Redford and Robert Rodriguez as confirmed guest speakers. Now here's the question. If approached by an organizing community in an event such as this, what would be your interest in actually partaking in an event like this?
I don't know. I mean, I've been to Mexico. I went to the Guanajuato Film Festival, which was, have you ever been there? They showed movies in like mummy caves and things of ways. It's amazing. So this sounds like a different kind of event. I don't know. What would I talk about?
It would be basically about how you perceive film And, the medium in general, Frankenweenie being in IMAX now, it's the first black and white in IMAX.
Yeah. It's exciting. I prefer to I'm one of those people that would rather just show a movie than talk about it. 'Cause it's there's something about, that's why you do it, is to let people see it and not hear too much about it and stuff. So I'm more of a fan of just doing the work and letting it hopefully speak for itself.
In the front all the way here on the left.
Hey, Tim, Mark Walters at BigFanboy.com. I was talking to Don yesterday at the display inside the exhibit hall, and I was really impressed with the intricate amount of detail that went into, even just some of the background things on this. Is it safe to say this is, the most detailed project you've ever done, just in terms of background details? And also, this is the second time we've seen you work in a major black and white film after Ed Wood, which is still my favorite film of yours, so...
Well, it was a real pleasure to do it black and white, and that was part of the reason wanting to do it. Any stop motion film is intricate. We had a slightly smaller crew on this than we usually do, because we wanted to kind of show the stop motion, but I think when we did Corpse Bride, the puppets were so good, a lot of people thought it was computer animation. So we just sort of went back and did it a little bit more low tech, and so that you felt the stop motion. But yeah, when you see the stuff and you see the details and you see everything, it's beautiful. It's like its own art form. So, but any stop motion, I think, has.
I think this one might feel that way because it's referential to things that you're familiar with. So you're looking at stuff that's from sort of the early 70s, and you've seen, maybe glass grapes on a coffee table before. I know we've seen it this big. It feels really special. So I think that.
Yeah, and also the black and white draws out textures more. It's interesting. That's why it made me feel a bit more emotional. It makes you feel like you're there. It does a strange thing, which is hard to put into words, but it definitely affects, the way you watch it.
Second row.
Mr. Bird, I have to tell you, I'm right here. I've been watching your films since I've been little, starting with Pee-wee's Big Adventure all the way up to seeing Dark Shadows a few months ago. You inspired me so much, to get into film and things like that. And you're honestly I'm actually shaking now. I meet so many people, and I never. But you're like my idol.
Well, thank you very much.
But I wanted to ask you, because Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite films of all time, if not my favorite film of all time. What was it like going back into this, and how has the technology changed now, to do stop motion?
Well, that's I think what we love about it. Technology gets a bit better, but it's still the same. It goes back to the beginning of cinema. It's a technique that still basically is an animator moving a puppet, 24 frames per second. So that's, I think, why we all love it. As much as technology, you can do anything. There's just something about going back to the simplicity of that and the sort of excitement. Seeing somebody move it, and then you see it come to life, and it's just very magical. And like I said, it's a form that we keep coming back to because of that reason.
In the back.
Mr. Burton, Aaron Sager, CNN.com. Thanks for your time. You see the science teacher, which is this great character voiced by Martin Landau, looks very Vincent Price-esque. Is this sort of the ultimate fanboy character creation for you? And are there any other sort of hidden characters within the movie that are sort of your own personal Valentines?
Well, yeah, there's everything. You try to put references in for people that don't know Frankenstein movies. It's it's not something that is necessary, hopefully, to see the film. But yeah, from kids to remembering kids that I went to school with, the teachers, Vincent Price. You can throw Christopher Lee in there for a little bit, and also just basic some of the characters like like Boris Karloff. So there is personal things in there that things that always meant something to me. But like I said, try not to make it necessary to watch the film.
On the far right of the front row.
Jimmy Aquino with Comic News Insider. How are you? Jim, I'm curious, since we're at Comic-Con, do Do you have any desire to take any of these properties or anything original and write and or draw your own comic?
What, here right now? It's a little exposing, isn't it? I like to do those things in private a little bit more, but no, I mean, it's exciting. Like I said, this is amazing that it's come from the holiday into this, which is such, it's also, it's just fun to see like Halloween in July, it's great. It's something that's very special about this place.
And in the back on the left.
Question for Atticus. As a bit of a spooky movie, can you tell us about the last nightmare you had and what scared you?
Okay, I better not see you in the parking lot with this, but no, but what freaks me out the most would probably be like spiders and or any arachnid, really. That's probably what does it for me, and I pretty much just have nightmares where I'll pick up a cookie and it's there on the cookie and it just looks at me and it turns into a cookie and then the room melts and falls apart and then I'll just have to me and I can't get away. But no, it pretty much any arachnid will freak me out.
Therapy sessions.
In the front row here.
Hello, I just had a question, and it is, there's a lot of dressing up at Comic-Con. If you were to come here, what character would you guys dress up as?
I'm actually in costume right now.
I've come disguised as a human being. There's lots of, some guy, I don't know, it's like hot out there. There's some guy that looks like he's wearing about like 3 tons of armor.
And great.
Over here in the second row.
Hello. My question is for Atticus. I was wondering, do you have a favorite Tim Burton film?
You mean besides this one? I would probably have to say Corpse Bride, because that was one of the first I've seen, and I really did like that one, and I liked the animation and everything.
On the right. Front row.
Hi, question for Mr. Burton. The original Frankenweenie short was really, really fantastic and really, just like concise, small movie. I was wondering, was it a challenge or what's the difference in the creative process of expanding and adapting a short into a feature-length film versus a fully original idea?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't too much of a stretch because, like I said, the heart of the story is the same. And like I said, it's just having some of these other characters that were sort of rattling around. It didn't make it seem like it was a different thing. I mean, that's why I feel proud about it, that it doesn't feel like it was a short that then we're sort of padding out into, it gets to explore like kid politics and the way kids are with each other and weird teachers and things. So for me, it didn't feel like it was a padding thing or a stretching thing. It felt quite natural, which is, if it hadn't felt that way, it probably wouldn't have been worth doing. I mean, it's important that it works as its own thing.
All the way across here on the left in the front.
Hello, Tim. Do you ever ask your cast or crew to watch some of these older films that you get decided from? And if so, which ones?
No, I don't, even though there's obviously lots of references, but, I did, not so much with the cast, with the DP, I talked about a lot of, because it was important to kind of get the emotion, the sort of lighting that I think he did a really great job in the kind of lighting of it. So in that particular case, I probably showed him some, the old Universal things and just try to capture that. And going back and looking at those really old ones, it is amazing photography, and so that was important to try to capture that. But I try not to give too many real specific references, just because you want everybody to kind of be their own thing, I mean, I talked to Atticus a little bit about it. It's like, you not too much, you don't go too far with it.
Front row there.
Hi, Tim. I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm very excited to see Frankie and Weenie. But could you tell us, looking at the span of all the films you've worked on and created over the years, is there one that stands out as a favorite? I know it's hard to pick.
Yeah, it is hard to
Could you
pick.
tell us why?
Yeah, well, it is hard to pick. You spend so much time on each thing, but I mean, I think things like, I don't know, probably Scissorhands or Deadwood or Nightmare, or this one is up there. You know, I do have ones that I feel, you know, you got to connect to everything, but these are ones that are probably just a bit more personal.
And then in the center here.
Hi, Tim. My favorites are Ed Wood and Corpse Bride. Anyway, what are your thoughts on doing the movie in 3D? Was it always your plan to do it that way?
Yeah, no, just the idea of seeing black and white in 3D was something that I really was interested in, and we were interested in because, you know, there was obviously a lot of talk about 3D. It's too dark, it's too muddy, it's this and that. And this was an opportunity to kind of, you know, do it with the black and white, trying to keep it crisp, trying to keep it, the shadows dark. And, I mean, it was a real, when I watch it, I love it because you see things in a different way. So yeah, the idea of stop motion, black and white 3D seemed like a really good, exciting combination.
And this is our last question here in the center.
Hi, I'm Vegard Larsen from Norway. It seems to me that you're inspired by a lot of things from your childhood and when you were young. Do newer things inspire you also?
Do new things inspire you? Yeah, I hope so. I think a lot of things that you get inspired early in your life, and I mean, hopefully you keep getting inspired. But it's those early inspirations. I don't think they ever really leave you. You know, you kind of the first time you experience something is usually the most intense and most thing that you remember the most. So it's not like I'm feel like I've arrested development and overly exploring that. It's just those are the kind of things that have the most impact and still stay with you. So, but yeah, you try to get inspired every day. I mean, it's important to constantly be surprised.
Thanks, everybody. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for.
Thank you, guys.